Hello, my name is Vitor, and I'm about to present the findings of a literature review and data analysis project on food loss and waste management strategies, and recommend the best strategies to be implemented by business and organizations across the frozen fruits and vegetables supply chain in the United States. First, I am a high school senior from Western Indiana, and I chose to do this project because I love eating frozen fruits. Not just blending them into smoothies or anything like that, like literally biting into the fruit. And not only because I think they taste better, but because I also realize I throw them away much less. And this, with my desire to optimize everything that I possibly can and better understand supply chains, sparked an interest in me to see if the supply chain could be further optimized, especially on the food waste front. In this presentation, I'll first explain why frozen fruits and vegetables business should invest in loss and waste management. Then I will talk about what are the most impactful solutions in this supply chain. And lastly, I will provide a main takeaway for business in the frozen fruits and vegetables industry. So, frozen fruits and vegetables are only a partial solution to food loss and waste. They do lower waste rates at the consumer and retail levels. For some frozen fruits, that number can be up to 10 times less than its fresh counterpart. However, they still make up a considerable share of the United States food loss and waste. And finally, over three-fourths of the loss and waste coming from the supply chain is not repurposed. That means that it's either not harvested, dumped, or just landfilled. Additionally, loss and waste management can be both profitable and sustainable. On the profitability side, it is proven to lower costs, both waste disposal costs and costs related to producing products that end up never being sold or eaten. And on the sustainability front, it helps business move towards the country's goals of reducing food loss and waste by 50% before 2030 and getting to a net zero of greenhouse gas emissions before 2050. The following chart shows an estimate of the most impactful solutions based on projected data, since there's no data directly related to frozen fruits and vegetables loss and waste. The following metrics were evaluated for each solution. Financial gain, which is shown in the x-axis, the environmental benefits, which is shown in the y-axis, and it is composed of reduction in carbon emissions and in wastewater, and the amount of food loss and waste tons reduced or potentially recovered, which is shown by the bubble size. And as you can see, the top four recommended solutions all have a high financial gain. And the small red bubble, which represents the most impactful retail solution, has a pretty insignificant impact when compared to others. And that is because of what I said earlier. The waste at this level is just so much lower that the solutions don't have enough scalability. Talking about the most impactful solutions at the producer level, they are buying perfect produce and selling perfect produce to consumers. Both can have a high financial gain, and I will talk a little about them more in depth in the next slides. The solution named buying perfect produce consists of manufacturers and retailers buying this imperfect and overproduced produce from producers, and it is a strategy focusing on reduce the amount of food loss and waste generated. The second part of the solution, selling it to consumers, should be implemented alongside this one, and I'll talk a little bit more about in the next slide. As you saw in the chart, this is the solution with the highest estimated profitability, and it is very beneficial to be applied in the frozen fruits and vegetables industry because the freezing process prevent further deterioration of products that may be more likely to spoil quickly or get damaged because they are already imperfect. And also, overproduction becomes less harmful because when you freeze a product, it can last up to 12 months without spoil and still have a good quality, and it basically never spoils. And supply chain stakeholders collabor- collaborating with each other is also key because consumers are probably buying imperfect and overproduced products at lower prices. So all the business in the previous stages of the value chain must negotiate between themselves to buy it for lower prices, therefore have lower costs of production, making the solution even more profitable. The risk with the solution is when stakeholders don't communicate clear what the new quality standards are, so how imperfect a product can be, or how much of overproduced produce manufacturers will buy from producers. And these can lead to farmers, aka producers, spending money and resources to harvest imperfect fruits that manufacturers and retailers end up never buying it. So you will still have waste, and you have financial loss for these farmers. So, as the next step and the first step to implement this solution should be to establish clear expanded quality standards that allow for imperfect and overproduced produce that don't generate any questions or doubts in anybody in the supply chain. Selling imperfect produce is the second part of the previous solution and should be implemented alongside with it. This solution is also targeted at reducing the generation of loss and waste. This is the solution with the highest estimated reduction in this food loss and waste when measured in tons, and it is crucial that the promotion of these products is done in a way that consumers see them as equally tasty and nutritious as more visually appealing products. And collaborations between stakeholders is key for implementing this for the same reason as the previous solutions. Consumers will be buying these products most likely at lower prices than perfect ones, so all the steps before must be cheaper. So manufacturers buying from producers and retailers buying from manufacturers. The risk associated with this solution is consumers having low demand and acceptance because the products won't be as visually appealing or as perfect as they were used to. So, to address that, retailers, especially, but also everybody in the supply chain, should help conduct research into consumer preferences, demand, and acceptance. Some examples of how the solution can be implemented is selling these products on imperfect produce sections at grocery stores or selling these products for lower prices on promotions and discounts. One of the companies that have done this is Snowcrest Perfectly Imperfect Frozen Fruits line, where they sell fruits that are considered imperfect. And also, visually imperfect products are less of a problem when talking about frozen fruits and vegetables because they're packaged in a way that most of the time consumers won't see them before buying. And if the taste is very similar, consumers will probably like it as much as perfect ones. Moving on to the solutions targeted at reducing or repurposing waste at the manufacturing level, the most impactful solutions are line optimization and byproduct utilization. And as you can see, they are the solutions with high environmental benefits, and I'll talk a little bit more in depth about them now. One optimization solution is targeted at reducing the loss and waste generation and consists of identifying flaws in the manufacturing line design, minimizing changeovers, and optimizing equipment operating conditions. This solution is the one with the highest estimated environmental impact, and that is because resources will be used more efficiently. The risks and challenges associated with this solution is that each facility has different opportunities because major losses and waste will be coming from different parts of the process according to which crop you produce, where your facility is located, how your production line works, and all those different variables. So, some recommendations for the next step when applying this solution is first realize the process that are causing major loss and waste at your facility, and then identifying and brainstorming possible solutions for these processes. Then estimate their impacts, scalability, feasibility of all these brainstorm solutions. Before being implemented on a definitive basis, all the solutions should be implemented on a trial basis to confirm the estimations of their impacts. One example of a company that have done this is Green Core, which produces ready-to-eat sandwiches. They've created 17 projects targeted at reducing loss and waste in an already lean supply chain, which is a similar case to frozen fruits and vegetables, which is considered an already lean supply chain. Another example is Yum Chop UK. It is a frozen ready-to-eat meals company in the United Kingdom, and they use the Internet of Things based real-time monitoring to reduce temperature and humidity mismanagement. That way, they were able to identify which parts of their process were not working as intended and how they should change to address those issues. Furthermore, this real-time monitoring aids in consistently measuring the impact from trial-basis implementation of solutions. The last solution I'll talk about in this review is byproduct utilization, which is the only repurposing one. And repurposing consists of using loss and waste for other purposes. Byproduct utilization specifically is using loss and waste from production to produce products targets for human consumption. One highlight of this solution is the possibility of optimizing its implementation by using waste from different causes for the same solution. So, trimming waste, which is skins, stems, and seeds of produce, and produce that have spoiled, or that did not meet the quality standards, they can all go to the same process to become the same final product. And this solution is also very feasible and scalable for the frozen fruits and vegetables industry because there's a high yield of non-edible parts. So some crops can get up to 75% of their weight made from skins, stems, or seeds. And those are things that will probably be wasted because consumers won't be eating those. And one example of this being applied is the use of waste from frozen vegetables to produce bakery flours that become breads, tortillas, and that are highly liked by consumers. One example of this is like, have you ever seen those high fiber breads or keto breads? They can use these bakery flours from wasted vegetables because they are higher in fiber and people like them very much. And for the solutions, partnerships help ensure that there is enough waste material for a consistent production of the product made from loss and waste. So if a company make banana chips, for example, just like banana, accumulating waste from different banana processing facilities ensures the company has a consistent supply of material used in its production. And a challenge associated with this solution is that there isn't a one size fits all solution. So the example I gave that banana uses for bananas is not applicable for berries, for example. So if a facility produces frozen strawberries, they will have to identify a different solution to repurpose this waste. As my last message, regardless of what your business is already doing or seeking to do regarding loss and waste management, I urge you to seek more collaborations and further research into your specific context to effectively increase impacts from reducing or repurposing losses and wastes. As shown by the previously mentioned solutions, collaborating among supply chain stakeholders reduces implementation efforts needed from each one and allows for a higher impact, scalability, and feasibility of solutions. And also, since the ideal solution, like transforming bananas into chips or vegetables into bakery flour, can vary depending on the crop and how facilities are operating, uh, solutions impact and feasibility will vary from case to case. And that is why you should research and analyze specific to your contest before applying any solutions in any trial basis implementations. Thank you for watching, and please reach out with any project your business is implementing or have implemented to deal with loss and waste, so I can learn even more of how that is done in the real world.